welcome to Up the Villa podcast. If you are new to our channel, subscribe, drop this video a like, and get involved in the comment section down below. So we are close. Well, we are approaching 6,000 subscribers, which is massive for the channel. It's a great milestone in our short space of time that we've been going. So yeah, we're buzzing to be reaching that milestone. It's come pretty quickly from 5,000, so we're all buzzing. And it just shows that you're enjoying our content. So a little bit about the podcast, because I'm getting a few mixed things about why some things aren't on certain episodes and vice versa. So we are predominantly a YouTube channel. So for you guys that listen, whether you're at work, walking the dog or whatever, when we do show graphics, you are better to sort of watch those episodes rather than listen, because obviously you can't see the graphics that we're putting on the screen. But I do put them on as a podcast version just to sort of accommodate for you guys that, you know, enjoy listening at work or on the way home from work and everything like that. So we're predominantly a YouTube channel as a video format, but we do bring you the episodes as a podcast. Our main episode per week is what we bring to you on a Wednesday, which is our match preview. The episodes are a little bit longer, so we go a little bit more in depth of the game that we've just seen, and then we preview the game that we've got coming up, and then we touch on different points in between. And then normally a couple of us will either do the predicted lineups, the fan cams are at the home games, and I'll vlog any away game that I'm at as well. And then we do sort of like match reaction straight after. But obviously, when it's weekends and work times, I can't get everybody on. So it's as and whoever can come on the episode. It's normally a little bit of a cameo from me as well. And then big news, we've got some merch dropping. I know a few of you have asked about mugs and stuff like that. So we've got some brand new mugs coming. They will be out very, very soon. We've made the payment today, so they are going to be available. So if you do want mugs, maybe just give us a bit of a heads up in the comments. But they will be out, I'm guessing, in about a week or two's time. So stay tuned for that one. So that's a little bit about the podcast, and then we'll get on to the main event, which is Aston Villa. So Hannah, Brighton, were you happy?
Yeah, I mean, after the dramas of the last few weeks and us moaning on the podcast about how rubbish things have been, we were all buzzing, I imagine, on Saturday at 5:30 when we had a lovely 2-0 win away with the clean sheet. Unfortunately, couldn't watch the game, wasn't at the game, so it's not the same as normal where I could give you my very thorough and experienced review of what I witnessed. But from bits I've seen, it was an improvement, which I think was the main thing, wasn't it? From commentary and reading up afterwards, I don't think it was polished, but I don't think any of us expected to go from Newcastle and Watford performances to the finished product straight away. And going to the Amex, you know, Brighton might not have been on good form, but it is a difficult place to go. They are generally quite a difficult team to play against. So to go there and get a win, not concede, you know, start and get that first early-ish goal, I think really sort of set the tone and has put us in good stead going back to Villa Park on Saturday. So no complaints from me at all. But yeah, it'll be good to see us back at home and see if we can sort of carry that on and see if that shape, both attacking and defensively, remains the same, or if there's any more changes, because I think that was probably the key point to take away from Saturday, is that we did make those changes and the fullbacks were a bit further back and we had a bit more control in the midfield. John McGinn apparently had a bit of a blinder, so all positive.
Cool. And Ryan, you did your tactical analysis piece last week. That dropped, so I'm guessing Gerard read it. So is it all down to you?
Yes, Gerard and Mr. Bill texted me after the game, said nice one for that little piece, sorted us right out. But yeah, delightful afternoon, really. I said in the preview, I thought it'd be a good time to play Brighton, because they're possession hungry, aren't they? And I think it suited us to be more counter-attacking, to pick and choose our moments when we went forward. And like Hannah touched on there, the fullbacks got pretty exposed the last two games, bombing forward. They sort of maintained their position. A lot of it was brought on by the Brighton threat of Laporte and Solly March, was it, the left back? They penned us back in the first 10, 15 minutes, but we was controlled and we was measured, and we picked our times to bomb forward, and it worked. It worked a treat. Cash scored an absolute lovely goal. Beautiful angles. There's been some fantastic content that the Villa's put out. The videos and the pictures. It's been class, and that angle behind the goal where he's pinged it into the bottom corner, it's beautiful. It is beautiful. There's only one place he could put it, and it was bang on the money. But yeah, I think with them fullbacks not bombing forward as much, it allowed McGinn and Ramsey to play as midfielders and not false fullbacks. They were tremendous, both of them. John McGinn especially, I think that's probably the best performance of the season I've seen with John McGinn, and the tactical tweak of going two up front as well, two number 9s worked a treat as well. I think against their back three, it allowed us to get down the sides and through the channels, and that terrific ball by Tyrone Mings. And that's where Watkins punished them. And again, another tremendous finish. The kid didn't score for 7 games, and he took that one like he'd been scoring for fun. And Konza as well. Konza, it's good to have him back. I thought he was bang up for it. He was on fire. He was lively. So it's good to get him and Mings settled again. And Mings' class captain's performance, I thought it was absolutely terrific. So summed up a very, very delightful afternoon. And I went out on Saturday night and I celebrated hard. I did. Ruined myself on Sunday. So Sunday was a write-off. So that's probably why I've been a bit quiet as well. But yeah, good to be back winning.
Yeah, and I spoke about this in the preview, and I gave a few little stats. But I said it was the ref's second Premier League game. I just want to touch on these refs. Just you can answer this one then. So the refs, right? This is what I don't understand at the minute in the Premier League. The best league in the world, with the best players in the world, the best managers in the world, but the officiating is shocking. I mean, when we go to Villa Park, we seem to have bad refs. And I'm not being biased here. The refs are crap. We had a ref on Saturday that had refed two Premier League games. So what I don't understand here with this one is we're virtually 3/4 of the way through a season, and this ref has been nowhere to be seen in the Premier League. But all of a sudden, he comes in halfway through a season. Refs these games, he gave 9 cards on Saturday. The Matty Cash yellow card, I know that's sort of been looked at this weekend now to maybe give messages for Ukraine and stuff. So fair enough on that one. And the Man City one, the Everton non-penalty. What is going on with the officiating in the Premier League at the minute? Because honestly, that could end up sending Everton down. If they could have got a point, they could have even won the game. You don't know. But I just can't get my head around it, especially the Man City Everton one. I mean, it's blatant handball. Well, what's your thoughts on it, Justin?
It's very difficult, isn't it? I mean, ever since I've watched football, since I was a kid, refereeing has been one of the biggest talked about subjects, isn't it? Before, during, and after football games. And they've tried everything. They've thrown everything at it to try and make it easier. They've changed the rules all the time, season on season. They're tweaking the rules constantly to try and make it easier. Or, VAR has been brought in now to try and give them extra support from the sideline. But it's overcomplicating it all the time, isn't it? I think I do have a bit of sympathy for referees. I do a bit of refereeing, and it's a thankless job, to be honest. I don't know how anybody would want to go into it really in the professional level out of choice. I know that they get paid quite well. But it is difficult, isn't it? I mean, as far as his second game, I suppose, if they're short of refs one week, if, I don't know, illnesses and things like that, injuries might come in. So they have to sort of step up at some point and they have to start somewhere, don't they? But the level definitely isn't good enough, I don't think, for what is the best league in the world. So how do you address that? I don't really know. I think continually trying to sort of improve the referees and coaching them, and for me, it's about simplifying the rules. The offside rule again is a rule that's always been. If you're on the wrong side of an offside rule, whether it was the olden days without VAR or even now, you're gonna, if you're marginally offside, you're annoyed, aren't you? You just think, well, who gets the advantage there? I think that's something that needs to be looked at. The handball, is it handball? Is it handball? They move your arm, they move the place of impact on the arm all the time. So you never know one season to the next what's going to be given handball, what's not. So I do have sympathy with referees. They have to implement these rules on the pitch. And if you've ever seen the referee's handbook, I've got one upstairs. It's like that thick. Honestly, it's so complicated. There's so many rules in there. So you only really see like the main ones, the basic rules of the game. But if you have to delve into actually everything, it's very difficult. And when you've got the eyes of the world on you, 56 cameras in the ground, 40,000 fans with their eyes on you, and 22 players that don't like you either, and the manager's shouting in your face, who'd want that job? Who would want it? So they're going to get things wrong, just like players get things wrong, like defenders make mistakes and goals get conceded, strikers miss chances, referees get calls wrong, don't they? So it is a thankless job. I think there is definitely room for improvement, and I think they've got to try and improve it. But I think they've got to try and simplify the rules. That would be my best way of probably dealing with it. We're not going to get rid of VAR now. I'd like to see VAR used less, and for probably more just really, really important decisions. But apart from that, what can you do? It's a really, really tough one.
Yeah,
I think you touched on there saying we've got the best league in the world, we've got the best players in the world. It's watched all around the world. Why can't we go and get the best referees in the world? Why do we have to? I know it's the English game and the English league, but that is the only thing English about this league now, isn't it? The refereeing. So why can't we just go and get the best in the world, even if they're in flipping Stockley Park and they're watching the game? Because God knows who was watching the.
I've always thought, what, Ryan?
One.
I've always felt that one of the things I would like to see is young lads that don't make it. I'd like to see a certain amount of players turn into referees that have played the game at a reasonably high level. Maybe not ex-pros, because generally your 30s and your 40s by the time you're packing up these days. But some of the younger players that aren't going to make it, and get released and will end up just in sort of normal jobs, day-to-day jobs. I don't see why they can't be hoovered up and brought into the system, because they've played it at a reasonable level, haven't they? I mean, I played Sunday morning football, which is nowhere near, academy football or even getting the odd game at a league level, but they would have more sort of an insight into sort of the mindset of players. Maybe that's an option, I don't know. But again, it's down to the will of players wanting to go and do it and train and do it. It's as I say, I'll refer at like a 6-a-side level, and I've done a few 11-a-sides, and the abuse you get it's horrendous. Why anybody would choose to do it? It's you've got to have such a thick skin. It's unbelievable.
I think you're right, Justin, that it is thankless, because whichever way a decision goes, you're going to probably have one set of fans that is absolutely livid. And I completely get that. And I do have sympathy. And I feel like before VAR, there was a lot of anger that things were being missed or things were, being mistaken. And it's human error. It's going to happen. You're going to have refs making mistakes in games. The thing that's annoying me and probably everyone else with VAR is that they are sitting and watching a handball incident like the one at Everton for 2 to 3 minutes. These referees, officiators are sat at Stockley Park. They should be detached from the game. They should be completely objective, and they are still making the complete wrong mistake. That is the issue. There's no human error there. There's nothing that they can say, oh, we missed that. They're receiving a video clip in context for 2 to 3 minutes and still making the same mistake, and that is the issue. A set of fans can forgive a ref giving a bit of a soft yellow card here and there, but when we've got a video assistant referee that's been put in place to sort of right these wrongs, and they're still making the wrong decision, it's unforgivable in my opinion, because why are these people being allowed to sort of essentially snatch points from teams and have no accountability for it? It's not like any other position in the footballing hierarchy. There's no consequences, and that's what's really frustrating. I know Everton have tried to appeal it and have since received an apology. An apology is not going to save them at the end of the day. If that one to 3 points is lost. Now, yes, they're not going to go back and say, "Oh, do you want to replay that 90-minute football game?" It's not going to happen. But realistically, we need to see change. And I know every season they're changing the rules, but it's getting to the point where that's going to make things worse. We're going to end up with more and more contention between the rules, overcomplication. Someone will say, well, last season that was okay. Do you remember, it might have even been our first season back in the Premier League? There was definitely a handball we received last season that Matty Cash, I think, got one against Man City, but then didn't get one against Southampton. And the one against Southampton was more of a handball than the one against Man City. And you just sit there and think, it's so frustrating, even for us as Villa fans. If something goes our way, it still doesn't feel right. It's rotten, because you know those mistakes shouldn't be being made when someone is sat with the sole job to get that decision right in an objective, rule-following way.
It was that Rodri one, wasn't it, last season, when they actually rewrote the rule after that game? You know, when he snuck up the
that was it,
the ball.
Halfway through the season.
Yeah.
There's two things I'd like to see change. The first one would be to use all the other sports the way they use technology. In cricket, when there's a contentious decision, then they refer it to the third official, to the video official, and the umpire will give what they call a soft signal. So he'll give whether he thinks it's out or not out before it goes to the official. Then they have a look at it, and if they can't find conclusive evidence to overturn the soft signal, they keep it as an on-field decision. So I think that would be a good thing, that the ref would signal that he thinks it's this, so if it's a penalty, he thinks right, it's a penalty or not, and then they go. And if they can't find a way, a real conclusive argument to overturn in a reasonable amount of time, not 4 or 5 minutes, in a minute, say, if they're having to look at every minute detail for 5 minutes, then it shouldn't be overruled. It should be 30 seconds or a minute. And the other one is, I've always felt this: referees should come out after the game and they should talk to the press, and and they should explain their decisions. Yes, they could talk to their. Yes, they can talk to their superior, because there's always a superior in the stands. They can go over it with the managers if they want to, but I think they should come out. They haven't got to be questioned, but they should just come out and explain their decision making. I think that would make them more accountable.
I think as well, because I think if you're giving a decision or you're not giving us a decision, or tell us why then. Do you know what I mean? I just think that's the easy solution, because then I'll be like, all right, fair enough, whatever. But it's the fact that when these decisions happen, they're off the pitch, they've done one, caused chaos, and
Yeah, but that Rodri one wasn't even debatable, is it? We can't even have a debate about that one saying it was handball or it wasn't handball. It was clear as day, wasn't it? That one. That's an absolute shocker.
I think there's so many decisions in football that are marginal. And because there's so much football playing, there's so many of these decisions constantly, week in, week out, thousands of games every weekend, that you're always going to get loads of these marginal decisions where it's up to the referee which way he's going to fall. Is it going to be yes or no?
Is it a penalty if it's the other way around? If it's in the Everton box and it's still 0-0?
Mate,
and it's to Manchester City. It's a penalty. Manchester City get that penalty. United get it.
Exactly.
Liverpool get it. Chelsea get it.
This is the issue when Justin says about a referee giving their opinion and then Stockley Park or whoever going away and trying to find a reason for or against. When you've got a top six side, supposed top six, it genuinely does feel, not to be deluded or sounding bitter, it feels like they go and find a reason to favour the big teams. We saw it in our FA Cup game. They spent 4 minutes looking for a reason to rule out our goal. It happens all the time, and it's not right. That's all I can say. It's not right.
Shocking.
You've touched a nerve here, haven't you, Luke? You've got us all.
Got another hour. Question. Got another hour to spend.
VAR special. This one.
Right, Southampton then.
We've got any time left.
Then what you think about the refs? So Southampton, They're doing pretty good, to be fair. They're doing very, very good, sort of going under the radar a little bit. They're having a real good season. But if we win on Saturday, I think we go 2 points behind them with a game in hand. So, plenty to play for on this one. Yeah, so for me, got a little stat for you. We love a little stat so far. So why not start with one of these? Shane Long has got more goals and assists against Aston Villa than he has any other team. He scored 9 goals and got 6 assists. But he's only played
the other week about stats always being against us.
He's only played a couple of minutes recently. So there we go. So we'll start it on that one. But yeah, Southampton, we haven't done very good against these at home recently. Good thing that Danny Ings now plays for us because he always used to score against us. No easy free kicks. I mean, you've got to say from about 35 yards. So
45
yards out. No dodgy free kicks. But confidence is high in the Villa camp now, which is really, really good. Southampton playing the FA Cup before the play. Also, I think they've got West Ham, so I'm sure they're going to go for it. So are they going to be a bit fatigued? We don't know. Let's get at them straight away. But I think me and you, Ryan, we need a bit of redemption here because that Friday night journey to Southampton, Dino's last game in charge, was absolutely shocking. It weren't great. We got baited all game by the Southampton fans. They kept singing Danny Ings, are you watching or something? So I'd love a Danny Ings goal on Saturday as well. But Ryan, bit of redemption, surely?
Yes, yeah, that Friday night was desperate, mate. Absolutely desperate. Even the journey down, when it was crap. It was like rush hour traffic on a Friday. Got there. It was completely uninspiring. Like you say, getting baited. You know, your chips are down when you're getting baited by Southampton fans, for Christ's sake. So, yeah, it was no good. But I think we're in for a difficult game Saturday, Arden. Like you've said, they are banging form. They've lost 1 in the last 10. And they've come up against like City, United. They've played Tottenham twice. They've played West Ham. There's only Wolves that done them over. So they are banging form. They're third in the form table for the last 5 games, and they have spanked us they've spanked us at Villa Park in the last 2 games. So yeah, it's a tough one. But like I say, we're back to winning ways. The mood in the camp seems good as well. I think they've been team building, haven't they, last week? Ings and Watkins as well. They looked happy. Weren't a great link up or a totally inspiring pairing, but the pair of them looked happy, and to see them celebrate the goal like that just put to bed any talk if they don't get on. So that's great to see. And like you say, Danny Ings on our side could unlock this Southampton team because they've beat us more times at Villa Park than we've beat them in the Premier League history. They're 7-6 up, so we need to draw that level. Mate.
An interesting comment from Gerrard as well was, I thought it was dead in the water, Ings and Watkins. I thought we was never going to see that partnership ever again. But he said after the game, didn't he, that he doesn't want to be picking one or the other each game. He basically wants to be playing both of them. So, but
it's the way he played them Saturday. He played them as 2 number 9s instead of a 9 and a 10 playing 1 out position. Danny Ings loves to play with another number 9, but they weren't quite fitting it, and that seemed
Does this
right.
fit in with what the Athletic tweeted as well, saying that Gerrard gave them sort of like a team meeting to air their thoughts a little bit more? Did that come up in the conversation, do you think, with Ings and Watkins then?
I think so, yeah. I think we go on, Anna.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, whoever has obviously reported that to the Athletic, I don't know, but if that's true, then I think that's a really positive thing for them to have done, to have listened to their players, because obviously Gerrard, Bale, McAllister have come in and essentially adopted a whole squad. Most of these aren't their players. So to sit them down in a bit of a rough spot and say, what do you think we can do here? And if it was a case of Watkins saying, well, me and Danny don't work like this, and Danny saying, I really like to play with another number 9 in this position, and to come to some sort of mutual agreement instead of Gerrard just forcing his, ideas down their throats, I think that's really positive. Justin, I don't know if you were going to agree.
Yeah, I was exactly the same thing. I think we did touch on it a few weeks ago when we were talking about one of the formation episodes, that the only way they would ever play together is 2 proper number 9s as a partnership, like I think I said, like Saunders Atkinson type. So I'm pleased to see it. I feel really sorry that Buendia's had to miss out because of the change, but that's just football, isn't it? He's decided to try and play them together. I think they could work really well together as a 2 right up top, like a proper partnership for centre forwards, because Ings is like a fox in the box, isn't he? He's a good finisher. And if he's got to play around him like Ollie Watkins, that basically runs around loads and drags defenders all over the place, he could find little pockets of space, in the box, which he'll thrive on. He's a one-touch finisher, isn't he, Danny Ings? He's touch, goal. So, yeah, I think it could be a really good move. I do know one of the players that used to play with him at one of his former clubs, and I spoke to him a few weeks ago, and I was getting a bit worried that Ings was going to be a little bit fed up at the Villa, because he did look a bit annoyed at the start of the season. He was always the player that used to come off, first sub, come off, and he looked a bit fed up. Well, it's always me. But he said he absolutely loves it at Villa. He absolutely loves it here. And with what's coming out of the next few years, then, why not? Just like, really, really settle in. And if we could get a partnership out the 2 of them, with Coutinho feeding them and the fullbacks feeding them as well, we really could have a good partnership there. We could go from what's been a disaster to really all season to imagine finishing the season with them pair banging the goals in left, right, and centre, and a good finish. It could be a bit of a masterstroke, couldn't it? We'll see how it develops. But yeah, it's promising, definitely promising.
And I sort of praised Gerrard in the match reaction that I did for sort of tweaking it slightly and keeping the fullbacks a little bit more stable. Ryan, do you think, we did see a little bit of a different side to Gerrard's sort of man management / management? Because I feel like he came out of Brighton, in my opinion, like in a little bit of a higher regard. I felt like the change was really good.
Yeah, because he reacted to it. We could all see where it was going wrong, and he's tweaked it. He's got the team together, like Hannah's just touched on there. I think you're spot on there, if that is the case. And he's clubbed everybody together. They've all got their heads down. They've found out where it's going wrong, and they've gone back to basics, which we wanted. Pre-game, I weren't too fussed about the result. Obviously, I want Villa to win every game, but I just wanted to see us start over again, just rebuild that foundation. We felt like the system just accelerated a bit too quickly. So it was just good to drag it back. And it takes, a bit of pride there in it to say, okay, all right, maybe I've gone too quickly, too deep, too much into it. And then, just to reset. So yeah, I'm pleased with Gerrard. I've been happy with him from day one. I think his man management's been terrific. The Instagram group that he set up, the Martinez with his son in the kit and everything. I think it's been top notch, to be fair, since he's coming.
Me too.
Well, I think it's always like, we might go through these rough patches, but what's really going to define Gerrard, this team, our season is the way we come back from these rough patches. And I think all we've been saying the last couple of weeks is we just want that response, whether it was a 5-0 win against Brighton or a scrappy 1-0. We just wanted a response. So to know that behind the scenes they're trying different methods and not just being stubborn like some other managers might be, that's really good for us to hear as fans.
Yes, right. We'll end it there. And so we'll be back for our predicted lineup episode later on in the week as well. And we'll be doing fan cams after the game. But we'll finish with our score predictions because we're all in a little bit more of a happier, positive mood. I think we're going to put in a performance at home. I think we haven't won at home for absolutely ages, and we are due a win. So I am going for 2-0 Villa. Ryan?
Big shout, 2-0. Good performance, but I think it'll be 1-1.
Hannah?
Very nervous for this one. I think it's going to be really tough. I think goals there. I think we're going to win 3-2.
Go on. Go on.
Big shout.
I just think because they're
Sounds
involved
like an
in the
exciting
FA
game.
Cup game on Wednesday,
Yeah.
and I'm sure
They
they're
could be
going to
knackered. Mm.
you know, it's a lot to come to Villa Park a couple of days later and win. So I'm going Villa all the way on this. I'm really confident. So, Justin?
Yeah, I think it'll be a totally different game for us this weekend. And we've come off the back of playing 3 teams that are all in poor form, and we've struggled to break them down. It's been, 2 really poor performances and 1 really good, solid away win. But this week's going to be different. We're playing a team that's in form and playing well. So they're going to come to Villa full of confidence and they're going to have a go to try and beat us. They've got nothing to lose, which I think could play into our hands. 2 up top, Coutinho sitting. I'm going to go for, I'm agree with you, Luke. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win.
Love it. Love it. Right. So thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and up the Villa.
Up the Villa.
The Villa.